logical interconnection between Amir and Hassan. رغم ان اللي ظهر لنا دلوقتي ان there are problems في مشاكل نفسيه بينهم ولكن في ارتباط ايضا ominous. It's ominous. O-M-I-N-O-U-S. What is ominous؟ يعني ينذر بحاجه ما ممكن تحصل فيما بعد. It could be epiphanic. It could be different also from that. I'll come back with your morphine and a glass of water, Kaka Jan Sarai said. Not tonight, he said. This is to Amir's father. There is no pain tonight. Okay, she said. She pulled up his blanket. We closed the door. Baba never woke up. I chose to stop on this statement لأن هي فكرتني بمشهد من العمل الجميل جدا اللي بدأ جميل جدا وانتهى سخيف جدا اسمه ليالي الحلمية اللي عمله أسامة أنور عكاش. حد شاف الخمس أجزاء أو معرفش 6 أجزاء بتوع ليالي الحلمية؟ كلهم. الأولاني بالذات شدني له هذا المشهد حاجة مشابهة بالظبط. And this is modernistic enough. The technique itself. There was كان اسمها هدى سلطان كانت هي Selim's mother. Exactly. And she was kneeling on the bed kissing one of the children. تقريبا كان علي البدري وقتها. Who was born to another woman. زي هنا بالظبط على فكرة. علي was born to another woman. والد سليم اتجوز واحدة تانية خلف منها سليم الوالد اسمه ايه؟ علي البدري. Right? And he was an infant and she knelt on the bed in order to fondle the baby and to give him some kisses. And then she did not wake up. She never woke up. يعني she died. وانتهى المشهد بهذا الشكل السلس البسيط السموث اللي ما فيهوش أي تعقيدات. Do you understand? In the hands of another writer, the act of death أو the scene of death would have been different. واحد تاني لا يمتلك نصية المودرنزم زي أسامة أنور عكاشة أو زي خالد حسيني كان يلخبط ويعمل لنا حاجات كتير. This is just one simple sentence that runs only for 4 words. مش كده؟ 4 كلمات. A very simple scene that ends like that. Baba never woke up. That is to say, his father died. They filled the parking spots at the mosque in Hayward. But this is a cinematic shift. Cinematic shifts exist in modernism. Cinematic shift يعني زي بالظبط السينما تلاقي مشهد امبارح ومشهد بكره ومشهد من سنتين ومشهد كمان 10 سنين كل المشاهد متركبة على بعضها بهذا الشكل. Who are they? The mourners. They visit to Amir on the occasion of the death of his father. They come in plenty. There are so many people. So they filled the parking spots at the mosque. مفيش مقدمة مفيش فاصل ما بين the death of the father and the emergence of those people. On the balding grass field behind the building, cars and SUVs parked in crowded makeshift roads. People had to drive 3 or 4 blocks north of the mosque to find a spot because that person who has just died was quite famous in Afghanistan. And people from Afghanistan living as minorities in America, فاكرين لما قلت لكم المرة اللي فاتت acculturation. الacculturation بيحاولوا يتعايشوا مع الجو بتاعهم وفي نفس الوقت preserving the same values they had in Afghanistan in the United States of America. And he takes some space in the novel to describe all this. As words from the Quran reverberated through the room, the Quran is recited on the occasion of that memorial. I thought of the old story of Baba wrestling a black bear in Baluchistan. Baba had wrestled bears his whole life. Losing his young wife, and this is just one sentence, this is not a complete grammatical sentence, مش كده؟ ولا is it complete؟ ولا المفروض انا ما اسالكوش عن حاجه في الجرامر مش كده بعد المقدمه البايخه اللي انا قلتها النهارده؟ يعني الجرامر بتاعكم حلو لدرجه ان انا اسالكم اذا كانت الجمله ديت جراماتيكال ولا لا؟ طب يلا هعمل نفسي من بنها زي الاستاذه دعاء. So losing his young wife is
By the way, I'm from Sharjah, but I live in Manhattan.
اهلا بيكم انتوا الاثنين.
Thank you.
Losing his young wife is not a grammatical sentence, of course. There is no verb. Losing here is a gerund. It's a phrase. Losing his young wife. Raising a son by himself, نفس الشيء. Leaving his beloved homeland. his وطن وبعد كده ايه poverty indignity. In the end Abba had come that he couldn't best هنا مستخدمة كفاعل، وده برضو ايه في المودرنزم من ضمن خصائصها coining new words، انشاء كلمات جديدة زي best دي الواحد يعرفها ان هي عصير مش كده زمان في الثمانينات، او حاجة تانية في الcomparative adjectives وغيره. couldn't best يعني couldn't challenge couldn't defeat. ماشي؟ he could not resist he could not defeat that bear. وbear هنا مش دب، bear هنا ايه؟ عارفين كلمة bug bear؟ يعني bug bear يعني بعبع، جاية من كلمة bear. bug bear بعبع يعني ghost specter something horrible that man wrestles with، حاجة الإنسان بيصارعها. فكان في عندنا إيه كذا حاجة بيصارعها بابا and one of them was cancer at the end. He could not challenge, he could not defeat. But even then he had lost on his own terms. يعني مات بإيه؟ بdignity. In his own terms يعني he refused medication. He refused to take physiotherapy زي ما احنا شايفين في الرواية، وده بيعتبر ان ده نوع من الانتصار. Many of them I barely knew. I smiled politely, thanked them for their wishes, listened to whatever they had to say about Baba. ونلاحظ ان الجمل كلها بدأ بايه؟ بdots مش كده؟ يعني these are incomplete sentences. Help me build the house in Taimani, bless him, no one else to turn to, and he lent me معرفش ايه, found me a job, barely knew me, like a brother to me. وده منتشر في المجتمعات المتخلفة، تلاقي واحد بيعمل الخير في الناس كلها ومش معروف خالص. والناس عارفة كده انه بيعمل الخير فيها، بس مجرد ما تحصل له حاجة يفتكروه بس لسانه يقول ده كان بيعمل كذا وكذا كذا، بس ممكن يشتمه، ممكن يلعنه، ممكن ينقلب عليه أيضا. Like a brother to me. Listening to them I realized how much of who I was. كلامهم ده gave Amir a good idea about himself and about his father. يعني he began to think highly of himself. What I was. ايه الفرق ما بين who I was what I was؟ Much of who I was what I was.
What I was giving some information about himself, his identity.
Thank you. أستاذة هدى ها؟ Thank you very much. الإجابتين الاثنين بيعضدوا بعض. Yes. What sort of person he is.
Yes.
The identity, as your friend has said, of Amir that has been initiated and established by his father have been defined. كل ده has been defined by Baba. And the marks, البصمات هنا, marks يعني fingerprints he had left on people's lives. My whole life I had been a Baba's son. بس نخلي بالنا ان this is a blessing in disguise. A blessing in disguise, a two-edged weapon.
Yes.
يعني his father has done everything to make him a great person, a successful, famous, rich, comfortable person اللي هو أمير. عمل كل جهده إنه يربيه كويس ويعلمه كويس وغيره. But this is a blessing in disguise. This is a two-edged weapon. سلاح ذو حدين. ليه بقى؟ Because he has been too dependent on his father.
Yes.
He has no independence. Too dependent on his father. يعني he's not self-independent. He doesn't know the world very well. وفي حاجة كمان level تاني من المعنى إن his father has taught him the wrong way. وده اللي هيشتبك معاه بعدين. He's going to grapple with this point لما يتكلم عن epiphany في الصفحات الأخيرة من الرواية. ويقعد يسأل أسئلة كبيرة. ويفتكر حكاية theft and lying. The difference between theft and lying. وفي الآخر يكتشف إن his father was a big liar. A big thief and a big liar. Right? Baba's son. Now he was gone. Baba couldn't show me the way anymore. يعني he could not direct me anymore. I'd have to find it on my own. And this is a big challenge وعشان كده the idea itself in he has to depend on himself has terrified him. He's terrified. Okay? To start to live alone independently on his own. We were standing in a crowd of guests watching the bride accept rings from the groom's family when we overheard two middle-aged women talking their backs to us. What a lovely bride, one of them said. Just look at her. So, مقبول like the moon. يعني her face is fine enough. Yes, the other مقبول يعني. وشها مقبول, وشها مريح يعني. Yes, the other said, I'm pure too, virtuous, no boyfriends. What does that say? ده معناه ايه? This is irony. They are talking about Suraya مش كده? She is not boyfriendless ولا حاجة. She has been guilty. She is not virtuous. A virtuous woman اللي هي ايه? A woman who has not been with a man.
Yes.
ولكن Suraya has been with a man for a whole month. والستات بيشوفوا بس الظاهر. She's virtuous, no boyfriends. I know I tell you that boy did well not to marry his cousin. Suraya broke down on the way home. هما كانوا بيتكلموا عن فرح تاني مش عن فرح سوريا. هما أمير خلاص متجوز. بس الكلام هنا إيه؟ أنت أعني واسمعي يا جارة. بيحرق وبيوجع سوريا because she has been guilty of doing all this. عشان كده she broke down انهارت on the way home. I pulled the Ford off to the curb, parked under a street light on Fremont Boulevard. Boulevard أصلا كلمة أسبانية. It's all right, I said, pushing back her hair. Who cares? ولا يهمك. سيبك منهم كلهم. أنا مش هقرا الجملة دي بس you understand how the writer is not ashamed of using the F dictionary. And this is part of the terminology of modernism, as I said last time. It's so unfair. She barked. Just forget it. Right? Remember, they are Muslims. مش كده؟ I didn't step out of the house for weeks, and when I did, why didn't he go out of the house? He's very sad for Suraya and for his father. And when I did, I heard whispers or imagined them everywhere I went. Whispers about his wife. ولو ما سمعهاش, he imagined them. Do you understand? يعني he lives under the spell of that marriage to Suraya. That was 4 years ago and 3,000 miles away, and I'm still hearing them. الويسبرز كمان عن ايه؟ عن حسن, his past, 3,000 miles away. وفي الآخر لخص كل فلسفته وفلسفة خالد حسيني في العبارة دي. تبا لهم جميعا. Who cares يعني زي ما قال لسوريا. And this is a letter from General إقبال طاهري. I hope you discover many tales on these keys. بيهدي له حاجة. المهم I highlighted this to show you metafiction. استخدام letters زي ما قلت, songs, poems, books, novels within the same novel. This is one technique in modernistic literature. In the summer of 1988, towards the end of the Russian occupation of Afghanistan, about 6 months out before the Soviets withdrew from Afghanistan, I finished my first novel, a father-son story set in Kabul. You know, another story within the story, and the major theme of this story is about the relationship between a father and a son, written mostly with the typewriter that General had given me. هو الهدية اللي عطاها له الجنرال اللي هو حماه كانت تايب رايتر. فاكرين اوليفيتي والحاجات اللي الواحد كان بيقعد يكتب صفحة كاملة في 3 أيام ورا بعض. أنا كتبت الفصل الأولاني بتاع الماجستير بتاعي على اوليفيتي, كنت جايبها شاريها من اسبانيا. خدت مني الفصل خد مني وقت كبير جدا, وفي الآخر I changed. أنا بذكر المثال ده ليه؟ Because this novel was written in 2004 مش كده؟ أو 2003. published 2004 and written 2003. In the age of the internet and in the age of the computer. So the writer captures the passage of time, the change in time. There is a sense of change. That was the age of typewriters, 1988, and now this is the age of computers. He doesn't forget to trace the passage of time and the effect of this upon characters as he goes on and on. Later that night, after Soraya fell asleep, please read كده. Huh? Wine always made her sleepy. You get it? And they are Muslims. I stood in the balcony and breathed in the cool summer air. I thought of Rahim Khan and the little note of support he had written me after he had read my first story, again talking about his novel. And I thought of Hassan. Someday, inshallah, you will be a great writer. This is Rahim Khan. He had said once, and people all over the world will read your stories. There was so much goodness in my life, so much happiness. I wondered whether I deserved any of it. The novel was released. Do you have a question? Yes, it's some kind of foreshadowing, thank you very much, of the coming epiphany. هو عارف ان الدنيا كانت سيئة جدا له يعني it has been so bad for him all the time بس هو deep within him he feels that he deserves better. يمكن ده بيذكرنا باللي هيحصل بعد كده. This is quite epiphanic, thank you. The novel, and he talks about the novel again from the point of view of technique. This is important, metafiction. The novel was released in the summer. يعني it doesn't count that much. مش مهم قوي نعرف نشرها ما نشرهاش بتتكلم عن ايه. القصة الأصلية مش إنه بيكتب روايات، لا القصة الأصلية عارفينها بتاعت أمير. بس within the novel itself, the writer builds a structure. Overall, there is a modernistic structure composed of metafiction and interspersing the novel with lots of allusions and references like that. I became a minor celebrity in the Afghan community. That was the year that الكلمة اللي بالخط المائي اللي هم ايه the Russians. Ashrafi completed their withdrawal from Afghanistan. زي ما قلت عندنا كذا ليفل من المعنى أو من الأحداث. أحداث على مستوى أمير مش كده؟ على مستوى هو ومراته، هو ومراته وأبوه، هو ومراته وأبوه المجتمع الأفغاني الماينورتي في أمريكا، وعلى مستوى أكبر the Russians، على مستوى أكبر العالم كله وأحداث 11 سبتمبر. البحث اللي قدامي ده اسمه نيو هيستوريسيزم. مدخل يمكن كلمتكم مرة عن نيو هيستوريسيزم. ازاي نيو هيستوريسيزم looking at history from a fresh point of view. ازاي ديت بتضيء حاجات كتيرة جدا في النصوص وفي المعاني بتاعة الرواية. It should have been a time of glory for Afghans. ليه ما قالش it was a time of glory؟ ايه الفرق ما بين it should have been a time of glory و it was a time of glory؟ اتفضل.
It should have been, it's what's supposed.
ايوه.
Yes.
يعني it was not.
Yes.
اتفضل يا عماد. يعني really and truly it wasn't.
Yes.
بس it should have been.
ما هو لو قال it wasn't مش هيبان حبه إن هو كان عايز.
As your friend has kindly explained, this shows the difference between idealism and reality. Ideally, they should have been proud, but they were not. Instead, عشان ده التفسير جاي اهوت. Instead, the war raged on. بدل ما يفتخروا ويسعدوا باللي حصل, the war raged on. This time between Afghans, the Mujahideen, against the Soviet puppet government of Najibullah. Puppet government اللي هي الحكومة
لعبة عرايس يعني.
Thank you.
دومة تويز.
اللي عينها السوفييت أصلاً المفروض. And Afghan refugees kept flocking to Pakistan. That was the year that the Cold War ended, the Cold War between Russia and America. And the year the Berlin Wall came down. هو السنة دي سنة مهمة جدا في التاريخ العالمي بصفة عامة، اللي هي السنة بتاعت جورباتشوف. سنة كام هي المفروض بيقول؟ 1989. هو انتهى الاحتلال الروسي 1989. في نفس السنة دي في آخرها حصل تفكك اللي بيسموها البيرسترويكا، تفكك الاتحاد السوفيتي إلى دول عدة، وفي نفس الوقت سقوط حائط برلين، ودي كانت حاجة برضو مهمة جدا. It was the year of Tiananmen Square. هو ايه علاقة برضو the narrative? What is the relationship between the narrative and all those events? ها؟ هل في علاقة مباشرة؟ ما فيش، بس دائما عندنا ايه؟
باك جراوند.
ما شاء الله. هي الناس بتبتدي قبل الامتحانات تصحى شوية ولا ايه؟ Okay, thank you very much. هستعيد هنا a very important title اسمه ايه بقى؟
political unconscious.
وده يا سادة عنوان لكتاب مهم اسمه The Political Unconscious. روح دور عليه هتلاقيه موجود، بس ما تقراش عنه، اقرا الكتاب نفسه. The Political Unconscious ده كتاب عمله واحد اسمه فريدريك. لو حد يفاجئني ويقول لي اسم الكاتب لا قدر الله يعني. فريدريك جيمسون اسمه كده، فريدريك جيمسون عمل The Political Unconscious، وده برضو في فترة المودرنزم وبوست مودرنزم كمان. يعني ايه بقى؟ What do I want to say by this? What does Frederick Jackson want to say by offering us that title? ان احنا willy-nilly، تعال اتفضل، دون سواء شئنا ما بينا هيبقى في content.
أنا؟
هنشيل
إن شاء الله. لا.
رافع ايديك اتفضل.
Yes, some matters that not on purpose you put in your mind, but the circumstance gives you some information, some feelings that affects your work, and of course on purpose, not on purpose.
Thank you very much. What you've said, let me add to, please. Political unconscious is a reference to the modern man and to the fact that no one in the modern age can live without politics. Underneath كلنا عندنا الانكونشس بتاعنا، العقل الباطن بتاعنا. There is politics. willy-nilly شئت أم أبيت في politics. Can you imagine anyone in the modern age dissociated from politics? خالص. We live that, truly, we live that now. You cannot avoid politics in any way at all in the modern age, and that is why in the novel the writer refers to the fall of the Berlin Wall, disintegration of Russia, of the USSR into the Soviet states, and the last thing is Tiananmen Square. يعني القراءة في التاريخ مهمة جدا. Tiananmen Square اللي هو إيه؟ حد عنده فكرة؟ آخر حاجة عندكم في النص Tiananmen Square. Tiananmen Square, like Liberation Square in Cairo, but this was in China in the year 1989. Lots of students, thousands. نتخيل بقى إن في مظاهرة في الصين، إذا كان مصيف في الصين ما بتشوفش رجلك منه، صح؟ مظاهرة في الصين in Tiananmen Square, like Liberation Square. تحس إن أمة لا إله إلا الله متظاهرة. And because there are governments that are not hearing, are not understanding, are not feeling, are stupid enough, they dealt with protesters in Liberation Square in a very dictatorial manner, and they swept off the square with the bodies of dead students. That was in 1989, and the whole world watched, and the whole world listened, and the whole world did not move a single hair. Very famous Tiananmen Square in lots of changes. كل الكلام ده مقدمة لإيه؟ خلي بالكم after 2 years بس 2001 حصل World Trade Center was toppled down. in New York. Tiananmen Square. In the midst of it all, Afghanistan was forgotten. الأحداث الكبيرة دي great events زي Tiananmen Square و the Berlin Wall بيخلي الناس تنسى حتى مشكلة زي بتاعت أفغانستان. And General Tahiri, whose hopes had stirred awake after the Soviets pulled out, went back to winding his pocket watch. عارفين winding يعني إيه؟ winding his pocket watch. برافو عليك.
Yes.
بالظبط. يعني الساعة اللي هي
يملى الساعة يعني كده.
بمعنى إيه بقى؟ No hope for Afghanistan for now. نفضل بقى زي ما احنا طالما الأمور دخلت في فوضى بهذا الشكل. That was also the year that Soraya and I began trying to have a child. ويمكن مش ملاحظين معايا إن they do not have a child by way of punishment from Allah for what he did and for what she did. ممكن كل شيء وارد صح ولا إيه؟ They were punished and they did not have a child. The idea of fatherhood unleashed a swirl of emotions in me. I found it frightening, invigorating, daunting, and exhilarating. طبعا ترجم في البيت بس كل المعاني ديت متضاربة. It's frightening بس invigorating. It's daunting ولكن exhilarating. المعاني عكس بعضها. It's frightening ولكن it gives me strength. It's exasperating حاجة تغيظ كده ولكن في نفس الوقت إيه؟ It gives one joy and pleasure. All at the same time. Contradiction. فاكر في أحد السلايدز قلت that was the age of contrarieties. فاكرين في أحد الشرايح وأنا بشرح على الباوربوينت اللي هو إيه ويليام بليك. That was the age of contrarieties. How to resolve all those contraries in the human being in the modern age. What sort of father would I make? I wondered. I wanted to be just like Baba, and I wanted to be nothing like him. Allah. In Things Fall Apart by Achibi, we read almost the same sentence. The hero, Okonko, in Things Fall Apart, has made his son another copy of himself. When that new son grows older and older, what was the most important thing for him to do? To be everything that his father was not. To be everything that his father was not. He hated his father because his father devastated him as a child. زي ما حصل هنا بالظبط. At the beginning he wanted to be like his father, ولكن later on he wanted to be nothing like him. I passed with flying colors. ده expression بالإنجليزي جميل. هتيجي كمان شوية كلام عن كليشيز. عارفين كليشيز؟ فكروا إن هنقولها. هو هيذكرها في الرواية أصلاً وهنجيلها إن شاء الله. هنا it's something like a cliché. A cliché is an image. Exactly. Thank you very much. An image that has been repeated several times. الكليشيه بالعربي هو الختم اللي انت بتحطه كده على تحط عليه اسمك. ده اسمه الكليشيه. حتى ترجمته بالعربي كده. فالكليشيه هي الايمج المتداوله دون تغيير. Passed with flying colors. I was very successful. Right? The next few months were a blur of tests on Soraya, basal body temperatures, blood tests for every conceivable hormone, urine test, something called cervical mucus test, ultrasounds, more blood tests, and more urine tests. So, why does the writer immerse us with or in all these technical medical details within the narrative itself? Isn't this a narrative? Isn't it a novel? Isn't it a story? Story بس نحس ان في كلام عن الحروب وتفاصيلها، مظاهرات وتفاصيلها، التحاليل الطبيه بانواعها سيرفايكال وغيره، الستات ممكن يعرفوا اكتر مننا الحاجات دي كلها، الترا ساوند وغيره.
Maybe because Hosseini himself is a doctor, physician.
He doesn't forget the fact that he is a doctor. This is one. He has been affected. ولكن a good author بيفصل ما بين مهنته وما بين العمل الروائي نفسه. Something I said at the start of my course, the fact that modernistic literature tries to be as realistic as possible. اللي أنا سميتها verisimilitude. Semblance to reality. Achieving as much a semblance of reality as the writer can achieve. Reality as it can be, not reality as it is. They try as much as possible to address or to grapple with major topics, major problems, major causes from which the modern man suffers. And in the middle of the narrative, you find references to realistic things like this. تحس ايه ان الكلام ده فعلا حقيقي. الحاجات دي كلها لو حد بيعمل ان شاء الله يا ربنا يرزق الجميع الذريه، لو حد راح يعمل مثلا اطفال انابيب او بيحاول ينهي مشكله الانجاب ديت، لازم يمر بالمراحل دي بالظبط. وهنا بفتكر جوستاف فلوبير في روايته اما بوفاري. روايه اسمها اما بوفاري by Gustave Flaubert in the 19th century, in which he wrote a chapter about a visit to the countryside made by the Minister of Agriculture. And in the novel, we have a speech by that Minister of Agriculture within the novel itself. And you read it and you love it so much because it is embedded in the text. يعني مش مفصولة عن النص، مش ملهاش لازمة، بالعكس very very important, and has a very good relationship with the events and the characters. You know what critics found out when they researched the novel, when they commented on Emma Bovary by Gustave Flaubert, اللي وراه the forerunner or the leader of realism in the 19th century, اسمه Gustave Flaubert. They checked the history of France at that time, the period of time about which Gustave Flaubert wrote the novel, and they found a speech that was exactly the same speech in the novel. The same speech. بس هذه لم تكن سرقة. Gustave Flaubert never heard the Minister of Agriculture. Gustave Flaubert never read that speech, never met that Minister of Agriculture. But he imagined, he visualized how such a speech by the Minister of Agriculture would look like. And he incorporated it into the novel. He embodied it into the novel itself. So it seemed almost the same as real life. And this is what you read here. It seems almost the same as what a woman and a man can pass through when they want to have children. Soraya underwent a procedure called hysteroscopy. Dr. Rosen inserted a telescope into her uterus and took a look around, منظار يعني. He found nothing. Those details, you know, those specific details are deliberate. معمولين on purpose to give you the feeling, the sense that this is real. Huh? Exactly. And he renders all this quite real in front of you. He found nothing. The plumbing is clear. He announced, snapping off his latex gloves. I wish to stop calling it that. We aren't bathrooms. Plumbing. ايه العلاقة بين plumbing وما بين bathrooms؟ حد يعرف؟
Again?
It's a very good image. Look at it again, please. من أول, the plumbing is clear. The plumbing is clear. The plumbing is clear. He announced. هو بيقلع الجوانت بتاعه اللي هو اللاتكس gloves. I wished اللي بيقول كده أمير he would stop calling it that. كنتش عايزه يصف يوترس اللي هي فوق دي، يعني سورايز يوترس اللي هو الرحم. Right؟ فيقول لهم ايه؟ the plumbing is clear. وأمير بيعترض على استخدامه لكلمة plumbing، عشان كده بيقول we are not bathrooms. ها؟ حد اكتشف العلاقة؟ ها؟
the plumber, the one who fixes the
أي برضه العلاقة ما بين البلامر السباك وما بين اليوترس؟ أنابيب أنابيب أنابيب.
Yes.
Do you understand؟
Yes.
مع اليوترس عبارة عن أنابيب.
Yes.
قناة فالوب وغيره والمبايض وغيره. فهو عمل الإيمج ديت, and this is a very interesting image, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it interesting or something that makes us laugh or something like that? A sense of humor from Khaled Hosseini.
It's creative. It's creative, you know. Very new, coining new images and coining new words. When the tests were over, he explained that he couldn't explain why we couldn't have kids, and apparently that wasn't so unusual It was called unexplained infertility. وده برضه موجود في عالم الطب، في حاجه اسمها ايه؟ العقم غير المبرر. يعني كله الانابيب تمام والوصلات تمام وكله ألسطة، بس سعادة الباشا انا مش انا، زي ما كان بيقول محمود عبد العزيز في جري الوحوش. They are not themselves. Then came the treatment phase. We tried a drug called برضه احنا مالنا ومال اسم الدواء؟ كلوميفين و HMG, a series of shots. shots يعني ايه؟ حقن. shots يعني حقن. Of shots which Soraya gave to herself. When these failed برضه فشلت. Dr. Rosen advised in vitro fertilization. زي أنابيب يعني. We received a polite letter from our HMO اللي هو الطبيب اللي بيعالجهم العيادة بتاعته, wishing us the best of luck, regretting they couldn't cover the cost. تأمين الصحي. Health Management Office حاجة زي كده يعني. And they began to read حاجة كتابة Good Housekeeping and Reader's Digest. Reader's Digest دي مجلة من المجلات المشهورة، أنصحكم بقراءتها، هي متاحة موجودة. للمجلة ديت القدرة الفائقة على تنمية اللغة الإنجليزية بتاعت القارئ بتاعها. I read it a lot. I have many copies of it. It's available online. And it's available in book format also here in Tanta, بس ما أعرفش فين. I bought many issues from Asbakia and from Tanta. The Reader's Digest. في رحلة العلاج بتاعهم في حاجة ظريفة عشان نختصر. انتوا قرأتوا مش كده؟ ايه اللي حصل؟ ان سوري، في رحلة العلاج بتاعت الأب نفسه، ان الدكتور اللي كان بيعالجه هو اعترض عليه لأنه
رشي.
خلاص هنعدي بقى النقطة دي. اوكي. Maybe this was my punishment. مش أنا قلت من شوية إن الانفيرتيليتي بتاعتهم أو الامبتنس بتاعهم ممكن يكون punishment. Here he comes to the same conclusion. Maybe this was my punishment, and perhaps justly so. It was a just punishment. It wasn't meant to be. Khaled Jamila had said, or maybe it was meant not to be. She has a different opinion, ولكن هو بيعتبر إن ده طبعا نوع من ال punishment. 14. Now we jump into that historic year, just a few months before the September 11 events. حصلت في سبتمبر 11 سبتمبر. احنا دلوقتي في جون، يعني فاضل كام شهر؟ جولاي أوغست وخلاص سبتمبر, right? He received a phone call asking him to come back to Afghanistan from Rahim Khan. Rahim Khan is very sick. A fist clenched inside me. Look at the image again. يا شباب, enjoy literature. Before studying it, please enjoy it. She stood up now. Pakistan, well, I have to go to Pakistan. Pakistan, what is his reply? Rahim Khan is very sick. بس التعليق رائع. A fist clenched inside me with these words. What is fist?
Yes, قبضة.
يعني زي ما يكون تشكلت قبضة داخله كده من يعتصره الألم, وهو بيقول هذه العبارة. We used to be close, I said. When I was a kid, he was the first grown-up I ever thought of as a friend. Not his father, خلي بالكم. His father was not his friend. I pictured him, يعني imagined him, and Baba drinking tea in Baba's study, then smoking near the window, a sweet briar scented breeze blowing from the garden and bending the twin columns of smoke. Twin because they are two people smoking. I thought about a comment Rahim Khan had made just before we hung up. قبل ما نسيب التليفون. Made it in passing. No subject, زي ما احنا شايفين. No subject. Made it in passing. Almost as an afterthought. I closed my eyes and saw him at the other end of the scratchy long distance line. Saw him with his lips slightly parted, head tilted to one side. يعني هنا بيتخيل رحيم خان وهم لسه ما قفلوش مع بعض التليفون. And again something in his bottomless black eyes hinted an unspoken secret between us, except now I knew he knew. My suspicions had been right all those years. He knew about everything. He knew about everything. Asif, the kite, the money, the watch, everything that passed in his childhood. This is the message that Rahim Khan delivers to Amir on the phone. Come, there is a way to be good again. Rahim Khan had said on the phone just before hanging up, said it in passing, no subject, said it in passing, almost as an afterthought. نفس العبارة دي متكررة من 3-4 سطور فاتوا. He said it in passing. يعني ايه in passing؟ نروح لها كده. زي ما يكون قالها كده casually. It was casual, not concentrating on it. He said in passing as if an afterthought, a way to be good again. نفس العبارة اللي متكررة بهذا الشكل. We have different motifs in the novel. عرفنا motif مش كده؟ motif recurrent, something recurrent that's repeated all the time for a purpose. We have a short chapter later. هنا ده السؤال بتاعي. Why is it short؟ هو فين الفصل؟ انتهى فين الأول؟ Sorry. معظم الفصول طويلة شوية ما عدا الفصل ده أقصر فصل في الرواية. التعليق بتاعي أنا كاتبه حد يا أستاذ شريف. Why is it short؟ مش كده؟ A week later I sat on a window seat aboard a Pakistani international airlines flight watching a pair of uniformed airline workers remove the wheel chucks. اللي سافر منكم وله تجربة في المطارات يلاقي الجملة دي في منتهى الدقة وعملية جدا. The plane taxied out of the terminal. Taxied? Yes. Rose up from the terminal and soon we were airborne يعني on air in the sky cutting through the clouds. I rested my head against the window, waited in vain for sleep. Does the writer need to comment on this? Does he need to elaborate on this to tell us why he can't sleep? No, معروف, he cannot sleep because of the torture inside. He's tortured, he's tormented, he's now facing his past, he's now approaching his epiphany, right? And that's why the chapter is short enough. Next chapter, 3 hours after my flight landed in Peshawar, I was said, ليه ما راحش على طول لأفغانستان? Because at that time, there were lots of conflicts in Afghanistan. اللي هي الpuppet government مع الطالبان والمجاهدين. He went to Pakistan first. I was sitting on shredded upholstery in the back seat of a smoke-filled taxi cab. My driver, a chain. Please concentrate with me on this image again. Now the driver is Pakistani. He is Muslim. المفروض لأن باكستان وأفغانستان تقريبا بنسبة 100% مسلمين. زي تركيا 90% مسلمين. A chain smoking. Look at how Amir and Khaled Hosseini portray for us the image of that Muslim from Pakistan. Smoking, sweaty, little man, شكله حتى كده قزم, who introduced himself as غلام. اسمه كده حتى التسمية نفسها ظريفة, غلام. Drove nonchalantly and recklessly. Nonchalantly يعني indifferently. And recklessly, carelessly, avoiding collisions by the thinnest of margins. يعني متهور جدا في سواقته. All without so much as a pause in the incessant stream of words. كل ده ولم يتوقف عن التفوه بكلمات spewing from his mouth. Spewing يعني إيه؟ Not dropping, not going out, not produced from his mouth, ولكن spewing. السبو زي إيه؟ عارف يرغي ويثبت, اللي هو بيبرطم بالكلام لدرجة إنه يتفتف ويريل وحاجات كده وحشة. Okay. Terrible what is happening in your country. Yeah. Afghani people and Pakistani people, they are like brothers. I tell you, Muslims have to help Muslims. So, ليه في dots في الأول و dots في الآخر؟ لأن the narrator or the narrative voice doesn't quite believe. هو قدم لنفسه شخصية that غلام is despicable. It is hateful. It is not nice. It's an ugly description of the man. نوع من الابروكسيميشن، نوع من الايه التهيئه، بحيث لما تيجي تسمع منه ما تطقش كلامه. ريحته وحشه ومعفن ولبسه وحش وكلامه وحش وسواقته وحشه، ويتكلم عن الاخوه في الله او الاخوه في الاسلام. ده understand؟ فمين اللي هيسمع الكلام؟ يعني هو كامير واحنا كقراء واي قارئ حتى امريكي will readily be off. He will put you off بحيث ما تقتنعش بكلامه. Do you understand؟ هناخد بريك اشرب فيها بق ميه واجيب لكم كوتيشن ظريف مرتبط بالنقطه دي. مفيش وقت حتى للشرب. Yes, this is from Ahmad Matar. I love Ahmad Matar so much, and this is a paper I published some years back. This is the quotation. نقرا كده من اول النص. شوفوا حتى اول ما قلت الكوتيشن قمت جايب مين اللي قال، ما قلتش، ما نسبتوش لنفسي، وقلته اونلاين وفي اخر البحث موجود التفاصيل. I watched a rat today. دي ترجمتي انا. Preaching about cleanliness, threatening dirty ones with punishment. Flies meanwhile cheering him up. لو حد حافظ احمد مطر يقول لنا النص العربي كده. رأيت جرزا يخطب اليوم عن النظافة، على ما أذكر يعني. رأيت جرزا يخطب اليوم عن النظافة ويهدد الأقذار بالعقاب وحوله يصفق الذباب. حد فاهم أي حاجة؟ هو بيتخيل واحد مسؤول بيخطب بالناس عن النظافة، بس هو اصلا جيرز يعني اراد فار. Do you understand؟ وبيهدد الناس اللي مش نضاف ان هو ايه هيربيهم وينظفهم، بس اللي بيسقف حواليه مجموعه من الذباب. Do you understand؟ ده كان في معرض الكلام عن اسكاتولوجي. ده البحث بتاعي اسكاتولوجي in the post-colonial Ghanaian and Egyptian novel. الروايه الغانيه والروايه المصريه. اسكاتولوجي. ايه بقى اسكاتولوجي؟ هنجيلها في حينها ان شاء الله. كانت بريك وفي نفس الوقت مقدمه لما هو آت. هتنبسطوا ان شاء الله. حد دخل على النت قبل ما يجي المحاضره بساعه ساعتين؟ يلا قول. بالظبط. دخلت ونهارت صح؟ طيب أول حاجة تنزل في بطني من أول النهار يوم التمهيدي ده، واليومين اللي قبليه بيبقى الواحد طوارئ، واليوم اللي بعديه عشان الواحد بيريح. فأنتوا متعبين، عشان كده ما باخدكوش كل أسبوع. يعني يمكن بتيجوا كل أسبوع لظروف تانية، بس في محاضرتي الحمد لله الواحد بيعمل لكم حساب، وأنتوا مش بتعملوا لي حساب. جايب من النت وارمي. احنا الساعة كام؟
هنروح بقى.
Okay.
مش معايا.
So without commenting on this character, we already know that Amir does not respond to him. I turned him out. Switched to a polite nodding mode. Allah. يعني turned him round out. طنشته بالظبط كده. وقمت ايه switched مغير الى موضوع تاني يعتبر ايه polite شويه. I remembered Peshawar pretty well from the few months. تسأله تقال لي اعمل الكلام ده عن الحاجه اللي فوق. طالما احنا بنتكلم عن مودرنزم بحاول اجيب لكم كل حاجه مرتبطه بالمودرنزم. تسأله تتكلم عن حاجه اسمها دي objective correlative. درسها لكم معتز؟ عايز تفهم ازاي؟
objective ايه؟
كواليتي
خلصنا؟ طيب هطلع لكم ان شاء الله. السلام عليكم. ماشي، مع السلامة. You should have studied this in poetry actually or in criticism. This is called the objective correlative. Objective correlative بترجموها المعادل الموضوعي. يعني ايه المعادل الموضوعي؟ Like this, the writer paints a picture. He gives you a picture in front of you, right? So that without commenting or saying anything, you would understand by yourself.
Yes.
ده المعادل، دي الصورة اللي قدامك. يقول بقى زي ايه؟ رأيت جوردن يخطب اليوم عن النظافة وينذر الحضور بالعقاب وينذر الحضور بالعقاب وحوله يصفق الذباب. What is it that you can expect of that speaker or that ruler? He's not clean. He is a dictator. The people around him are also as bad as he. Do you understand? You don't have to know more. You don't have to listen to him or to them. The objective correlative is an image painted by the writer, سواء a poet or a novelist, out of which you understand a lot without the writer saying anything else. He doesn't have to say anything else. هنا بالظبط ده اللي حصل. والobjective correlative مستخدم بكثرة في الرواية. And you can consider the whole novel to be an objective correlative. It's an objective correlative for Afghanistan, isn't it? يعني لما بيقول البلاد تيست واليورين تيست وما اعرفش ايه التيست، الحاجات دي كلها ما فيش فايده. والمواسير تمام بس ما فيش اولاد. Do you understand? المواسير تمام بس ما فيش اولاد. This is also an objective correlative for the case they suffered from. Okay, the streets were clogged with bicycle riders, milling pedestrians, and rickshaws popping blue smoke, all weaving through a maze of narrow lanes and alleys. احنا في سنة كام دلوقتي؟ 2001. 2001 غير 78 أو 75 في أفغانستان وباكستان. مش هنقرا الكلام ده بالتفصيل بس انتوا تقروه كنوع من ايه؟ objective correlative for، وده برضه modernistic، the city. In the center of this description there is the word the city. اتكلمت مرة عن الكتاب بتاع ريموند ويليامز في المحاضرة اللي أنا جبت فيها أمل دنقل. ريموند ويليامز عمل كتاب اسمه The City and the Countryside. The city is a symbol of modernism. Modernism depicts the city. هذا المجتمع مجتمع حضري وليس مجتمع قروي. اتغيرت الدنيا وأصبح مجتمع مدني يعاني بقى من كل ما تعانيه المدينة من ضوضاء وجلبة وتلوث وغيره. This he describes jammed stalls. حتى الستولز للأكشاك والمحلات tightly jammed، زحمة جدا. The city was bursting with sounds. Shouts of vendors. Vendors البياعين. انزل بشاور أو انزل أي حتة في المدن اللي بالشكل ده هتلاقيها as bad as this. ايه اللي مكتوب عندك يا اخي فاضل؟ التعليق.
false charge.
كلمة false charge. اللي هي هتيجي دلوقتي. اوكي. انا قلت لكم هنتكلم عن كلمة كليشيه مش كده؟ And they talk about why he is here. Rahim Khan told me how when the northern, if you went from the Cherno section to Kerith Prone to buy a carpet, you risk getting shot by a sniper or getting blown up by a rocket. If you go past all the checkpoints that was, you practically needed a visa to go from one neighbor to the other, so people just stayed put. He told me how people knocked holes in the walls of their homes so they could bypass the dangerous streets. يعني الناس عشان تمشي من مكان لمكان كانوا بيحفروا الجدران بدل ما يمشوا في الشارع يمشوا جوه البيوت. ايه الايمج، ايه الاوبجكتيف كورلاتيف لكده؟ ان افغانستان is not safe
Yes.
under Muslim rule, under the Taliban and under the Mujahideen. So they could bypass the dangerous states and would move down the block from hole to hole. In other parts, people moved about in underground tunnels. Why didn't you leave? He's asking Rahim Khan. طبعا this is a long dialogue between Rahim Khan and Amir. When the Taliban rolled in and kicked the alliance out of Kabul, I actually danced on the streets. زي ما حصل في مصر، الناس رقصت في الشارع بعد 25 يناير، بس ايه اللي حصل؟ I wasn't alone. كل الناس كانت كده، ولكن اللي حصل ان الطالبان حكمت، وعايز يقول لنا برضو في objective correlative ان الطالبان and the Muslim rule is bad. Do you understand? فعشان كده نلاقي دايما ايه rockets, gunfire, explosions all the time. You read the dialogue for yourself لحد ما بنصل إلى yes. آخر الفصل ده فصل 15. بص كده. Then Rahim Khan sipped some more tea, rested his head against the wall and ايه and spoke. نبص بقى لبداية الفصل اللي بعد كده. عشان كده السؤال بتاعي who speaking, who is speaking. نقرا كده. There was a lot of reasons. نشيل الكومنت ده. There was a lot of reasons why I went to the Hazarajat to find Hassan in 19